Education and Learning Support, Training Planning. In this module, we will take a brief look at the key principles of learning and defining what is to be learnt. Key principles of learning. An early stage of this process is to identify groupings of knowledge, skills and attributes, KSAs, that can or should be learned together. It is a key principle of learning that things should be learnt the way they will be used. This means that the grouping of KSAs should reflect the combinations in which they will be applied after the change is complete. Collaboration with training designers and other learning specialists will help to identify how much time should be allowed for learners to gain competence in each learning module or group of KSAs. It is a key principle of learning that it should be followed immediately by its application. This means that the learning activities should ideally be delivered just in time, immediately before the change is implemented and the learning will be used. If this is not practical, consider allowing for phased development of relevant K.S.AS so that the last stage of the learning, or refresher session, occurs immediately before live use. This may increase learning costs, but, to adapt Peter Drucker's famous saying, if you think effective training is expensive, try ignorance. Defining what is to be learned. For one learning activity, there are usually a number of specified learning objectives. Learning objectives should include all knowledge, skills and attitudes, KSAs, relevant to the work. Outcome measures or indicators should relate well to the way the job will actually be done. Success standards set in a competence test may be different from those set as learning objectives. The level of detail must be appropriate, supplemented by other documents where necessary. Attitudinal objectives can be specified through consistent patterns of behavior. Finally, supervisors of the work activity should agree the list of learning objectives, confident that anyone who met those objectives will perform effectively in their role. Writing good learning objectives is a skill set in its own right. However, the heart of the matter is to be clear what the outcomes must be. As Stephen Covey's second habit suggests, begin with the end in mind. Writing good learning objectives means completing the following sentence, or variants of it at the end of the learning activity. Learners will be able to. For example, at the end of the learning activity, learners will be able to maintain a car or will be able to replace the dust cap correctly after inflating a tire.